Mahika Ravi Shankar, Assistant Editor at Trade Finance Global. The first female CEO of a Fortune 500 company was Katharine Graham of the Washington Post. The newspaper has been around since 1877. Graham was named CEO in 1972. Thanks to these women, gender inclusion today has come miles. In the UK, as of 2022, the gender pay gap was 12.1%. But of course, there's work to be done, especially since improvements aren't uniform. In financial services, this gap stands at 26.6%. In fact, the top 5 gender pay gaps by sector are all within financial services. Our industry focuses on ESG, equality and fairness, but there's still some progress to go in terms of gender representation. Women entering the workforce need to see other powerful women in leadership positions, driving innovation and progress in their respective industries. Visibility proves that career progression is possible, not just for a select few, as was the case 50 years ago. We at Trade Finance Global value visibility a lot. That's why our editorial board steering our content is gender equal. It's also why our flagship event, Women in Trade, Treasury and Payments, is an industry-unique opportunity for women to appreciate one another's work without being drowned out by men. Next year's event will be on February 27th, 2025. To launch Women in Trade, Treasury and Payments, we've invited Eleanor Hill, a member of our Gender Equal editorial board and a wizard in Treasury and Payments. Eleanor, welcome to Trade Finance Talks.
Mahika, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Thank you. So to kick things off, just a bit about yourself. Who are you, where are you from, and what do you do?
I'm Eleanor. I'm based in the UK. Many people will know me as former editor of TMI. I'm delighted to now be sitting on the TFG editorial board. And I'm now running my own company, Treasury Storyteller, where I work closely with corporates, banks, fintechs, and talk to them about the latest developments in Treasury, trade, and payments.
Thank you. And obviously we're here to discuss TFG's upcoming event, Women in Trade, Treasury and Payments. Why do you think an event like that is important and what's special about it?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think there's so many different elements to it. For me, it's about celebrating and amplifying the voices of women. There's so many great professionals in this space who don't necessarily always get the opportunity to have a platform to have that voice. And there's just an event where industry leaders can share insights, inspire others. And I like the fact that it's bringing together trade, treasury and payments, because there's so much intersection between these two areas, especially as trade has become more global, as corporates are operating more internationally. There's just so much interlinkage, so it's great to have everyone in the same room for that.
Thank you. And the event last year was a big success. What was special about it?
Oh, it was a real shame for me not to be able to be at this year's event, but there were some really good conversations afterwards and so much feedback. And just women saying that it was amazing to hear about all of the advancements in the landscape, like AI. The feedback that I've heard has been incredible. Quotes like, it's empowering to be surrounded by so many driven and innovative women. The event sparked collaboration that wouldn't have been possible otherwise. So I think the magic of it is in bringing together those different sectors and connecting the fields, fostering deeper understanding of treasury practices, trade practices, all within that safe space for women.
I think definitely something we're trying to replicate with Women in Trade, Treasury and Payments this year. Could you tell us a bit about the plan for this year?
Yeah, so it's going to be even bigger and better. Really looking forward to it for the 2025 event. So it's taking place in the Lansdowne Club, which actually has a really interesting history. So it's based in Mayfair. It's the first members club to allow women in the UK, so I think that's got a nice tie to where we're going with the TFG event, and it's a bit groundbreaking, and that's hopefully what we're trying to replicate. So it's a women-only event, bringing together an impressive mix of treasurers, trade finance professionals, fintechs, government representatives, and the aim is, as we said, to just facilitate those connections, those conversations, and highlight the real intersection between trade and treasury that's going on, and hopefully have some really good discussions.
So is there an overarching theme for the day, and how will the event be structured?
Yeah, so the theme for 2025 is sustainability, and there's so much to say on this. ESG is such a hot topic, so many different things going on, but of course it's a women's event, so it's also about gender inclusion, and we want to make sure that women's contributions in areas like trade finance, treasury and payments are given the visibility they deserve. There's a lot going on the day. It's going to be super busy, lots for people to get their teeth into, starting with breakfast networking. We've got an inspiring keynote speaker. Last year we had Eleanor Hill from the WTO. We'll have a lot of thought-provoking panel sessions, breakout roundtables, networking lunch, and then we'll be doing some video interviews and capturing key takeaways. So an awful lot, hopefully, to come out of that day.
Yeah, sounds exciting. And I think that point is really important, that while the event itself is about gender inclusion, the purpose of it is to showcase that women are industry leaders, and the conversations and roundtable discussions will be very specialised and detailed. Just a bit on your expertise, I guess. Why the Treasury angle?
I mean, for me personally, I just fell into it. It's one of those jobs that you find most people don't have any particular path that they want to go into. I would say 99% of treasurers are accidental treasurers. And so, yeah, it's just something I fell into, but I love, because there's always innovation going on and the Treasury crowd are amazing. But Treasury is also so interconnected with trade, as we've spoken about already. It's those complexities of managing liquidity, FX risk, working capital, everything that makes the world go round and makes efficient trade, essentially. And I've been working in Treasury now for 16 years, so it's great to see these areas come together. And I think with what we're doing with the event, it will only bring those closer together.
And that's obviously why your capacity within TFG is sort of Treasury and Payments guru. And what does gender inclusion mean in this remit?
So I think it means different things to different people, but broadly for me, it means ensuring that everyone, regardless of gender, has equal access to opportunities and that they're represented in meaningful ways. So in trade and treasury, this inclusion is particularly important because these fields are shaping global commerce today and important for economic stability. So we need those diverse perspectives to make informed, balanced decisions. And gender inclusion means breaking down barriers, challenging biases, ensuring that women are not just present, but are actually active, influential participants in shaping the future of trade and treasury. It's also about fostering a culture where mentorship and sponsorship are accessible to women, so they've got support to grow into leadership roles and to make those decisions which will shape the future. That's the idea, that's what it means to me. I mean, there's various different ways that it can take place, various different formats, but I think the mentorship and in forging those discussions is really important, and that's hopefully what will come out of the event as well. People can connect and get those deeper, meaningful conversations underway.
And I guess on that note, how can everyone get involved in this event?
Well, it's a good question. Obviously, if you're a woman, you can attend the event, but it's women only, so if you're a man, there's ways that you can sponsor the event, support the event, or of course you can engage with TFG's content online around the event, share it, put out on LinkedIn, help us make a noise about it. And by participating in those ways, you're contributing to a movement that uplifts women and promotes gender inclusion, can engage with our podcasts, our articles, social media, all of those things, just to help amplify the voices of women across trade, treasury and payments. And we want everyone, regardless of gender, to support and advocate for this important cause.
So there's an elephant in the room, which is the men who are watching this or hearing about the event that think of it as an exclusionary event by the fact that it's women only. How would you say that people who are allies of gender inclusion can further support the event? Yeah,
it's a really good question, because it does seem like it's the opposite of inclusion by having it women only. So I totally understand that concern, and it is valid. But the purpose of having it women only is just to create a safe space to empower women to share their insights and build strong networks. And it's something that I've seen being really important. I've recently worked with a Women in Working Capital group. We've had very different discussions there because it has only been women in the room. But as we just said, men have a really crucial role to play as allies and supporting gender inclusion, advocating for women, challenging biases when they see them in the workplace as well. So it's not just through this event, it's day to day, promoting diverse voices in their organisations. And as we said, sponsor the event, maybe even step forward to be a mentor if there's a woman that you feel could do with mentorship but doesn't have access to a female mentor as well. So there's many different ways that allies can step forward and support.
Eleanor, thank you so much for that. Really useful to be able to tell everyone about all the details of women in trade, treasury and payments next year. And save the date, 27th of February 2025. Thank you so much, Eleanor.
My pleasure, and I look forward to being at the event.